Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, sneaking a sip of coffee. Today we are hopping into the SOAP framework. We're using the SOAP framework to examine and apply it to our, maybe not our biggest communication challenge, but I picked a communication challenge out of my brainstormed list. And actually, I didn't pick one out of my brainstormed list. I definitely need more coffee. I always like to say I don't have allergies, but I totally have allergies. Every morning, same thing. So, today, day 220 of our annual challenge, our Get Your Goals annual challenge. We're doing one thing every day to get what we want. We're talking about the SOAP framework, and we're applying it to the communication area and aspect of our life. We're focusing on communication this month as one of the main areas of a life framework that I use to set my goals and objectives in different areas and aspects of my life. Why? Because otherwise, you can go years and totally miss very important areas of your life. I'm a huge warning when it comes to that. For about a decade or more, I ignored my physical well-being and put everything and everybody else first, only to have a sudden cardiac arrest and be very lucky to be here talking to you today. Happened to go down in a place where somebody knew CPR, and so I didn't die, which is very lucky. And I didn't have, brain damage and other things that can happen when you don't have oxygen going to your brain. So today we're talking about different communication challenges. Now, partially as a result of that, but not really as a result of that, I am legally blind. I don't know. I try not to let a lot of people know that I don't act as if I'm legally blind in my day-to-day life. At least I try not to. I mean, one of these days I'm going to have the white cane to be with the red tip and walking around, but not there yet. And as long as I'm not, I do what I can do with what I've got. But one of the challenges, and I didn't even have this on my brainstormed list of I think I had 12 on my list, and I came up with this one this morning because it actually came up this morning. But it is texting and the synchronous, the simultaneous communication with other people. The immediate forms of communication now are a challenge for me because texting, we text on our cell phones, which are way too tiny for me to see. So I often guess, and I think I know where the letters are, and they're not always correct. I mean, mostly I send those cryptic messages to my children and to my sisters and people that know me really well, because I don't want to be embarrassed by typos and misinformation and miscommunication that happens through text messaging anyway, but even more so if you know you're making mistakes. So my challenge, the communication challenge I'm going to address through the SOAP framework, is that immediate synchronous or different ways of doing that so that I don't have those misinformations, especially when it comes to more professional and business type settings. My personal life, if I fix it in there, I'll fix it in my personal life and those communications as well. So today, the S in the SOAP framework stands for story or situation. And we want to identify two stories. The story that we are currently in, living and telling ourselves, and then the desired story. What do we want? And I call it going from C to D, going from our current story to our desired story. Because our goals are all about moving us from where we are right now to where we want to be. And the rest of the SOAP framework, the O, the A, and the P, help us fill that in. But first, we have to know where we are in order to know where we want to be, or we have to know where we want to be, then be honest with ourselves about where we are. And I like to use a tool called the timeline technique, or the timeline tool. And I just think about myself with respect to the past and my ability to communicate via text and one-on-one messaging. My current situation, which I described a little bit, it's like fraught with errors and misinformation and typos, which I've always been embarrassed about. When I was younger, I couldn't spell very well. Well, thank goodness now they've got spell check and everything, so you can check things and have the spelling corrected for you. So that's one thing technologically that's helped me a lot. But it embarrasses me when I spell things wrong or I have typos or make a mistake. I don't get super embarrassed. It takes a lot to really embarrass me, but I don't want to be putting information and communications out there that are not what I intend. So that's part of my current situation. My desired situation is I want to be able to communicate through current technology quickly and easily, and without making typos, without making mistakes, without providing misinformation. So the timeline is past, present, future in terms of our current situation to desired situation. And by looking at that, it helps me to identify the details that are important as I'm identifying my current to my desired situation. Because when I know where I am versus where I want to be, it forms some positive tension, because I know that I need to change what I'm doing right now in order to get what I want in the future. And sometimes the future can be as soon as tomorrow. So our action item today is to think about your current story for the area of communication that you're soaping and improving versus your desired story. Where are you right now and where do you want to be? That's all we have to do today, is what story are you telling yourself? What's the situation? And then tomorrow we will start identifying possibilities of improving and filling that gap. All right, any questions, hit me up. Of course, there's a write-up in Guide 17 of the Get Up and Go private challenge Facebook group. And in 16, again, is this video. That's it. If you have any questions, ask. Otherwise, I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.